So we still have half a year until our DCTV or core Arrowverse shows return. Well, I guess if we're lucky at least, and Corona doesn't get any worse before then. But for the last while we've had both Stargirl and Doom Patrol to tide us over, and they've all been pretty great. But I'm really missing Kara, Barry and all the rest, so I really want to talk about what I hope or what I want to see when the shows return after what will be by far their longest hiatus yet. So when the shows return in January, we're going to have a pretty unusual lineup. We'll have The Flash Season 7, Batwoman Season 2, the first season of Superman and Lois, and then the fourth season of Black Lightning. Both Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl, on the other hand, will be airing their 6 seasons at later times. Legends will likely be a spring-summer show, so like airing from maybe April or May until nowish kind of time, probably early August, late August. And that'll kind of be a nice change for them. And then I could totally see Supergirl returning in October when the shows come back for their next seasons. But when this happens, it'll be really interesting to see how they handle Supergirl's plot, because for crossover's sake, they'll have to have a pretty significant time jump between seasons 5 and 6, so that Kara and all their team are the same as Flash and Superman and Lois and Batwoman and all that stuff. But for the sake of this video, I'm only going to talk about the 4 shows that will be airing in January, and may make another video later when we have some proper information about Supergirl and Legends and what is happening with their shows. But one thing that I think applies to both Flash and Batwoman going forward is I don't want us to just jump over the events left open from the prior seasons. I don't want them to just be jumped over or forgotten completely so that the shows can just start fresh in the next seasons. I want some genuine effort put into giving a well-written ending to the storylines of last season, at least so it'll help going from these seasons less jarring on rewatches. But out of all the shows though, Batwoman has by far the hardest task. They not only have to try and make a decent way for last season's plots to end, but they also need to introduce a brand new protagonist and get rid of the old one, without the old one even showing up. For this, I do want some respect given to Kate's character. I don't want her to just be hand-waved away and then have the characters never talk about her from episode 2 onwards, because some shows will do that when they get rid of a really important main character. They'll just pretend like the character didn't exist, which is really annoying. But Kate needs an ending that feels real and not forced, and if possible, it would be awesome if they got Ruby Rose back for at least the premiere to make the whole thing feel easier. I know they're saying that they're going to have season 2 of Batwoman kind of focus on the mystery of where Kate Kane went or what happened to Batwoman. It'd be really cool if they at least had Kate Kane there for the first episode and have her disappear in that episode or something. But in terms of the new character of Ryan Wilder, I guess I just ask that they don't make her annoying and push her in front of us at every possible opportunity, because anytime a show has a huge shake-up like this and has the impossible task of introducing a new character, the writers always seem to kind of force the new character on the viewers in a way that comes off as really hard to watch and kind of cringy. The easiest thing to do with Ryan, in my opinion, is to maybe have the supporting cast be the focus for the first couple of episodes, so we're kind of watching the show through their eyes rather than Ryan's eyes for at least the first couple of episodes, and ease us into Ryan being the new protagonist, so that it feels like a slow progression than all at once, because then when Ryan does fully take over the show, it'll be a lot easier to watch. But honestly though, I'm really worried about Batwoman, because very few shows manage to survive a shake-up like this. I'll still be watching for sure, but I'm really expecting the views to plummet, and for there to be some pretty big negativity around the premiere. I just really hope I'm wrong, but it feels like this could be the first CW Arrowverse show to get cancelled. Black Lightning, on the other hand, has by far the easiest task out of the 4 shows. They basically don't have to change anything, and they get to continue as usual, like nothing in the real world is happening, because they finished season 3 and aired it before the virus started to really get bad. And honestly, season 4 has the opportunity to be the show's best season yet, mainly because the writers will have had 10 times as long to do scripts, because if they wanted to, they could have written the plot all the way through season 6 by the time filming for the show starts back. So honestly, I hope just that Black Lightning keeps the streak it's on, because all 3 seasons have been great so far, and there isn't an awful lot I want to change about the show, but a big hope I have is that we get some sort of crossover next year with Jefferson and Barry or Clark, kind of in the vein of the early Flash and Supergirl crossovers. With The Flash Season 7 though, I've already mentioned how I hope they wrap up Eva and Carver and all the mirror stuff in a good way before they move on to whatever they have planned for Season 7. I also hope that when Godspeed shows up, he's handled much better than his Season 5 and 6 appearances, because I get that he was liked in those appearances, but in my opinion the real Godspeed needs to be 10 times better than that, and I'd love if they decide to do some comic book stuff and have August be sort of the Slade Wilson Barry. He's a villain at first, but he can become an anti-hero, I guess kind of like Snart, where he can still help and work with Barry when the need arises. I would also like to return to main speedster villains, because in my opinion seasons 1 to 3 is still the absolute best run and era of the show. I know season 3 isn't very well loved, but I get a lot out of it personally, and since all those seasons were speedsters as the focus, it's something I want to see again. I'm also excited to see how Superman and Lois starts off, and I'm really hyped to see a bunch of the Superman villains that Supergirl hasn't even touched yet. But I would love to see characters from Supergirl show up on this show. Alex or John or even Brainy. It'd be really cool to see what they're up to while Supergirl's not airing. But we also need John Crye's Lex Luthor to interact with Tyler's Clark Kent, because we've basically had none of that so far. We sort of had it in Crisis on Infinite Earths in the scene where they go to Brandon Routh, Clark Kent's world, and John Cryer and Tyler Hoechlin are kind of interacting in that scene, but that's it, and it isn't even really what you'd kind of want out of this when we know that these two characters have so much history together. I would also love Kara to show up, but seeing as Melissa Benoist is likely going to be dealing with her baby up until at least Supergirl Season 6 starts filming, I think we should leave that hope until Superman and Lois' second season at least. But I would also love for them to start setting up a future crossover in the way they did for Crisis on Infinite Earths way back in Flash Season 1. But I'd really like them to plan this out, and I want them to know when the next huge event is going to happen and stick to that plan, because Crisis on Infinite Earths, it was good for what it was, but it was very clearly rushed to happen when Arrow ends, rather than in 2024 when it was supposed to. But yeah, that's just some of the stuff I would really like to see when the Arrowverse and DC shows return. Not everything. What do you want to see? Do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree with all that? And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and all of that. I hope you have an amazing day.